Hello and welcome to Toyah at Home. I'm underground in what used to be the BBC studios at White City. So now ITV have taken over the underground system. So Lorraine, Breakfast TV comes from here, This Morning comes from here, Loose Women comes from here. But there is my old dressing room when I was 20 years old. That was my dressing room when I made Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with David Hemmings, and that was about 1978, and it was a historical drama of the story, and I had to be dressed as a maid. I had tight corset on, maid's outfit, the little bonnet and everything, and I would sit in that dressing room all day just waiting to do my scenes. And I remember I had this very big scene with David Hemmings when he murdered me, and I was in that dressing room from 6 in the morning in full makeup, full costume, and they didn't get to my scene till 10 at night. And they came to the dressing room, and officially we should have stopped filming at that point, but they said to me, look, we're up and running, we're running late obviously, would you just come and mark the scene and we'll shoot it first thing tomorrow. So I got into the studio with David Hemmings, and David Hemmings quite rightly said, look, we're going to shoot this, we might get it. And we did it in one take, and it was about 10 pages of dialogue, and it's fabulous. And because I'd been underground in that room for almost how many hours? I think about 12, 14 hours. I was very, very tired, but it somehow added to my character, and we got the shot. This is also the area where the pop stars were kept for Top of the Pops. This is where our dressing rooms were. We were all running riot around this underground system. And then just above us was the big studios, which now most of this building is all kind of domestic apartments. And you've got Soho Shepherd's Bush here, which is the Soho House Club here in Shepherd's Bush at White City, which is fabulous. It's like a media centre. It's really buzzy. It's great. So the dressing rooms, I'm here doing This Morning. So the dressing rooms now are a lot nicer. Firstly, they're not kind of beige, which they were 42 years ago. You actually get a bathroom, so you don't have to wander the corridors in crinolines and wigs and bonnets trying to find a ladies' loo. And we get a sofa. That's Lee, who looks after me. Lee makes sure that I get on stage, that I arrive at the right time, I arrive at the right place. And on occasions like Cambridge, when the promoter came on stage to introduce the band and walked through all the cables and unplugged all of the guitars, it's Lee that makes everything work again, or he helps the promoter off the stage for our own safety. So I'm very, very grateful to Lee, who is also a neighbour in Worcester. Very, very convenient. So it's been an absolutely fantastic week. Opened in Proud Cabaret, which is glorious. It's a celebration of acts that are like Cirque du Soleil, burlesque, incredibly life-threatening acts. In one scene, a man is put in a barrel and the barrel is set fire to. It's just absolutely, what's going on? But all of the acts at Proud Cabaret are highly trained. Cirque du Soleil trained in Vegas. They've trained with the big circuses. Some even ran away to the circus. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And the room celebrates everyone in the room. So people arrive, they have a meal, and they're made a huge fuss of. And there's this kind of elevated feeling of it being an absolutely brilliant event, and it is. And I love it, really love it. And I'm touring Posh Pop at the moment and fitting Proud Cabaret in on my days off, but in December I'm mainly doing Proud Cabaret. It's full on, and they're booking me for more dates. So if you can't see me in December, hopefully I'll be back in the new year, but I can't confirm that yet. This week we are going to be talking about Thunder in the Mountains and how I remember that being written and how it came into the world. And Robert Cooper very kindly has filmed the Posh Pop Bomb. Robert Cooper has very kindly filmed the Posh pop band performing Thunder in the Mountains at the Half Moon Theatre, which we'll play for you. But let's look at the original video. So my memory of doing Thunder in the Mountains is Adrian Lee, who was the keyboard player on the Anthem band, handed me a cassette tape, and it was just a backing track that he'd been working on. And I was actually on tour, I think it was the I Wanna Be Free tour in June, and I fell in love with this track. And all of the band was submitting tracks to be the next single, because we decided we were only going to have the 2 singles released of Anthem, which was It's a Mystery and I Wanna Be Free. Back then, you did not take multiple singles off albums. It was considered ripping off the fans if you did that. I have a slight regret about that decision, because I think We Are should have been the follow-up single to I Wanna Be Free. It would have been absolutely perfect. But anyway, Joel submitted tracks. His tracks later became In the Fairground, that EP that we released Christmas '81. But Adrian Lee's backing track. It just really excited me. It had a lot of drama. It was intense. It was very up. It was very Toyah energy. So I took it away to work on it. And we only had a weekend in the studio to record this. And I remember this particular weekend is when Princess Di married Prince Charles. And I was under huge pressure to get the lyric done, and at the time obviously incredibly famous, and I had two stalkers outside the apartment who were just ringing the doorbell all day long, and somehow they tricked the record company into giving my phone number to them, so the phone was ringing all the time. And what was really strange, you couldn't pull phones out of the walls back then, that the wiring was permanently attached in the wall, otherwise I'd have pulled the phone out the wall. So I was trying to write the lyrics to Thunder in the Mountain with all this going on, trying to clear my head because we were gigging as well. But I eventually came up with this lyric that reflected what was going on at the time. There were a lot of riots happening in Bristol, I think they were in Manchester, and I think in Liverpool that there were riots going on, and they tended to be race riots. So the whole beginning of addressing the inequality between we're supposed to be a multicultural country, but back then it wasn't wholly multicultural. There wasn't the same opportunities for people, and these riots were breaking out. So I wanted to reference that in Thunder in the Mountains, and I reference it. There's a motorway with distant problems, is all reflection on the riots going on, and the whole romanticism of the track as well within the lyric is very much Tolkien-esque, me reflecting back to the power of nature, where the mountains meet the sea, light spit stains on the scenery. It's all about how we go back to nature, how nature governs us, and how we mustn't put the veneer of mankind and cities over nature. But then in the second verse, I wanted to reflect the fact that, that motorways link us to each other. We are linked, and there's distant cries for help that travel down these motorways. So it is all about the tension within the country, within the UK at that time. Godley and Cream of 10cc were my video makers that year. They made the video for I Want to Be Free, and when we had the meeting for doing the video for Thunder in the Mountains, they asked me what I would like to do. Now, I wanted to ride a Sherman tank down Oxford Street, but they said we couldn't do that. Only the Queen would have permission to do that. It would be virtually impossible to get a Sherman tank on Oxford Street. But I managed to almost live that dream with TVAM a couple of years later, when I was allowed to ride a white horse around Liberties, which was another fantasy I wanted to create in a rock video. So we came up with the idea with Godley and Cream that I would be like Boadicea, like a tribal leader, very Mad Max, which was current at the time, and that the idea that this was a dystopian future, and that we were a kind of tribal gang hiding in an underground car park, and I wanted to have a chariot and a horse. Well, that materialised as a sawn-in-half car and a pony, but it still did the trick. It still was pretty wonderful. And we shot on a disused airfield in Lewin Garden City, which is North London, and we did a 24-hour shoot. It was pretty exhausting. So I got there about 6 in the morning, and I believe my makeup artist for the day was Prue Walters. I think Robert Lebetta was doing my hair. So this huge sunflower hairpiece went on the back, and Prue copied the makeup from the Thunder in the Mountains cover, which was done by Richard Shara, who designed that makeup. And then I was literally just stuck on this horse and cart and made to ride around with a whip all day. One of the things I really remember, I had to use the windscreen of the car for balance, but they'd only broken off the mirror, the rear view mirror. So all of that was like cutting into me. God, I was shredded at the end of the day. My stomach was completely shredded. we shot that all morning, and then we moved into the underground shots, which we used the car park within the airport, which was completely deserted, and we had extras. And Godley and Cream always loved actors performing drama. So there's this man that is kind of imagining things, ping pong balls fall on people. That is very Godley and Cream, and very 1980s as well. So all that was going on, and it was a 24-hour shoot. So by the time you get to 2 a.m, when the band get used for the first time, we were all pretty tired. Now, I remember after this shoot, I got home at 6. I managed to have a bath, put my makeup on, and then a couple of hours later, I think about 4 hours later, I was in a screen test for a film about Boadicea. Never got made, but I had to go into the screen test, meet the producers and the directors, and do the test. And I was really spotty from having no sleep and not eating well. And I think, the meeting went particularly well, but the film just didn't get its funding. But life was very intense back then, and it was non-stop. You used to have to say to people, I actually haven't had a meal today. Could I eat? I haven't had a glass of water today. Could I just have a glass of water? Oh, by the way, I've not been to bed for 3 days. Do you mind if I go to bed? It was absolutely endless. You were scheduled back to back. Interviews, screen tests, production meetings, writing sessions, recording. Wildly exciting, absolutely brilliant, but absolutely not made for the human body. So as I mentioned at the top, Robert Cooper very kindly filmed the Posh Pop Band playing Thunder in the Mountains at the Half Moon Theatre at Putney. This was at the end of September, and we want to play that for you tonight. And we want to play that for you now. So this is Thunder in the Mountains. We will have a burning question for you tonight, and we will have another very weird, very wacky Toyah and Robert's Sunday lunch tomorrow. So enjoy, everyone. I am out on the road gigging with the Posh Pop Band right through till the 2nd of December. So come and see us if you can. And Proud Cabaret, I am in right through to the 29th of December presently. And then I hope there will be other dates announced for the new year. So see you later, and enjoy Thunder in the Mountains. Bye for now. Thunder in the Mountains!
Mountains meet the sea, light spit stains on the scenery. The air is heavy with the sticky unease. I wish Mama was